Let me ask you something. Are you in a position where maybe you've created a product or a service that you're ready to launch, but you haven't launched it yet? Or you've had an idea for a business and it's been an idea for, a fair amount of time and you haven't got around to actually creating that business or creating the products or services associated with that business. Well, if this is you, this video is also going to be for you because I'm going to talk about one of the reasons that that might be the case and how you overcome that and actually get your stuff out there into the world so that you can start generating sales. But before we get into it, please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. I know I always say it, but please hit that subscribe button because it really will help me. And then hit the bell so that you get a notification as and when I release a new video. Okay? So let's talk about this. Why is it that there are so many people out there that have, products or services or have ideas and they kind of never get past the idea phase? All right. So you might have a great idea, but it's been something that it's been niggling at you for 3, 6 months, a year, maybe even a few years, but you just haven't got around to doing it. And you keep telling yourself that you can do it tomorrow or you can do it next month, or there's a reason that you can't do it right now. Maybe it's because you've got things on at work, or maybe it's because things at home. You might, maybe you've just had a new baby and you don't have the time to do it. Okay. But the point is that we're always going to give ourselves a reason for why we can't do something. And why is that? Well, although it's not going to be true for everybody here watching it, I do believe that a good proportion of you watching this that is in that position where you've got an idea or you've got a course and you haven't actually got it out there into the world yet. I think that it comes down to a fear of failure, okay, or a fear of being ridiculed. You have this idea, you believe that you can help people, but you don't want to put it out there, because what happens is if you put it out there, okay, and no one buys it, okay, maybe through no fault of your own, there may be some things that you can tweak and things like that, but that's a different video. But let's just say that you get something out there and no one buys it. What does this do to you psychologically? Okay, the reality, physically, you're not in a different position to where you were when you hadn't launched it because you haven't made any sales. But I think what it does for us psychologically, and this is the big impact right here, is it's a failure, right? So whilst you're in a position where you've got the idea and you haven't sort of pushed forward with that idea, or you've got a product and service and you haven't got it out there into the world, at that point in time, you can still live with the dream of, once I get my product out there, once I get my idea out there, then that's when everything's going to change for me. That's when my life is going to change. That's when I'm going to start earning the sort of income that I want to earn, okay? But when you do actually get it out there, and if you do and nobody buys it, then you no longer have that dream to hold on to. And some of us, we want that dream not more than we want the reality, but we want that dream more than knowing whether or not our idea works. Does that make sense? So you'd rather sit there with the dream and with the idea that actually, if you were to do this, then it will be a huge success. You'd rather sit there with that, with no sales, rather than actually getting your stuff out there and then finding out that you don't have any sales, and then being faced with the fact that actually what you thought was going to work hasn't worked. Now, the good news is that once you get your stuff out there, okay, even if it doesn't sell anything, it doesn't mean that it's never going to sell anything. Tony Robbins talks about, it's either DHL or UPS, but it's basically the guy that runs one of those companies. Their first run, they had something like a few hundred parcels and they delivered one. They delivered one parcel, okay? All the others got lost or weren't on time or whatever, had loads and loads of issues, but they managed to deliver one parcel. And instead of saying, oh my gosh, we failed on all of the other 199, they said, okay, so now we know how to deliver one. Tomorrow we need to find out how we deliver two, and then the next day 3, and build from there. And it's the same with digital courses and digital marketing, right? So we might have something that we believe is the absolute best thing in the world. And I've actually had this a number of times. So going back to when I first launched Traders Corner with my brother more than a decade ago now, we had a video course that we thought was going to be the be all and end all. We thought it was going to be the most amazing thing. And we put it out there, 0 sales, nothing. Now, was it because of the course or was it because of the marketing? Well, no one had actually seen the course at that particular moment in time, so it had to be something to do with the messaging. So what we did is we tweaked the messaging and things like that, and we ended up getting one sale. And then similar to the UPS or the DHL delivery guy, we're like, okay, so we've got one. Okay, and that person that's taken the course is happy with the course. We know the course is good, but obviously our messaging isn't right. And our messaging at the time was to do with trading the financial markets. And for any of you guys that know my brother and I, you'll know that we try to be, quite straight with you, quite transparent. But the problem was that all of our messaging was very, very pessimistic. We led with the most negative figures. You said, 99% of people are going to fail at this. No one, it's really, really hard. No one's ever going to be able to make any money, and just really overly sort of pessimistic, because we didn't want to sort of, we wanted to manage people's expectations. So they didn't think that they were this was another get rich quick scheme where they could jump into trading and make, 5,000% overnight. What we were able to do is we can teach people to make a conservative return of, let's say, 30, 40, 50% a year trading the financial markets. And I say, obviously conservative, I know that's a fantastic return, but there are people out there that they want to make hundreds, 200, 300, etc. each and every year, which, to do that each and every year, you have to be a little bit aggressive. Yeah. And you stand more of a chance of obviously blowing up your account. But that's kind of besides the point. The point was that our messaging was incorrect for this product. So what we did is we played with that messaging. We kind of pulled back a little bit on all of the negativity. We still led with the reality of that trading is very difficult, but we just weren't so negative in our approach. We were a little bit more optimistic in talking about how it was that we would be able to help them and what their lives would look like if they were able to take the right steps and follow the structure that we wanted to give them. And then with that, suddenly the course sales started to roll in. So that's an example there of, yes, we put something out there and we failed at the first minute or the first hurdle, but because we didn't give up, we were able to then make tweaks and make more tweaks, and then it was suddenly very, very successful. And sometimes it's a case of, giving your customers what they want rather than what you believe they want. Okay, you have to listen to your customers. But again, that's a completely different video. And we'll talk about that, about how to sort of structure your product and how to find out what it is that actually your customers want, as opposed to trying to give them what they need. Okay, so if I go very quickly before we round off this video, if I go back to, this is a lesson that we learned from, it's a company called Agora. They're humongous in the US, but they're big in the UK as well, but they're massive in the US. And anyway, so we were approached by them to look at publishing some blogs and things like that, and maybe creating a product. And what happened was we sat down with them and we said, look, we've got an idea for a course where we're going to teach people everything that there is to know about the financial markets. Okay, and we're going to teach them all about the fundamentals, all the technicals, all of this kind of good stuff. And they said, whoa, just wait a minute. That's not what our audience want. And we're like, yeah, but it's what they need. To be able to trade the strategy, surely they have to have all of this information. They said to us, well, no, wait a minute. That's what you want to give them. That's what you believe they need. But if we strip this back, can you limit the amount of information that you're giving them and just give them the strategy? Because the majority of the people that read our articles and look at our newsletters and things like that, they have an idea of trading, so they don't need all of this additional information. They just want the strategy. Can you give us the strategy? And that's what we did. And there's another example of giving people what they want as opposed to what you believe they need. Okay, because you've got so much knowledge inside your head, and you want to put all of that out there into the world. But sometimes you just need to dial it back a bit and think about, what is it actually that your customers, what is it that they want to learn? What is it that that you can give to them that's going to benefit them without giving them a complete brain dump of what's inside your mind. Okay, so I know we've gone off in a little bit of a tangent right here, but the point of the matter is that you have to get your products out into the world. I know and I believe that for many of you, it's kind of that fear of failure that's preventing you from doing it. But you have to think about the fact that, your position, if you get something out there into the world and no one buys your product, it's exactly the same as not getting it out there into the world at all. The only difference is that Over here, where you haven't got it out there into the world at all, you've still got that dream, fantastic, warm, fuzzy, you can live with that dream. Over here, you've got it out there into the world, it's failed, oh gosh, I'm facing failure, but now you have the opportunity to iterate. Now you've got the opportunity to find out actually what's going to work, and then to give your audience something that's going to work, and then sort of, progress your business and get to a point where actually you are making sales. All right. So I hope you followed all of that. If you liked it, please give this video a thumbs up. Please hit the subscribe button. So subscribe to the channel so that I know that you're watching this and that you enjoy this content. Hit that bell so that you get a notification as and when I release a new video. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the very next video.